Have you ever wondered how to go from your brilliance to actually monetizing your message? Well, this week's talk tip is all about that. Check it out. Hey, what's up? Marianne here. Welcome back to Talk Tips. We are on number 6, and I'm going to show you this graphic right now of the speaker journey. Now, this is an 11-step graphic that I have built for you, and in fact, you can just take a screenshot of this so you remember everything. This week's talk tip is focusing specifically on step 1, knowing your expertise. Now, if you have an entrepreneurial brain just like mine, if left to your own devices long enough, you will start another business. Ask me how I know. So this module is really important because defining your expertise, this is the thing that you become known for. And there's several different key phrases that teach people how to interact with you. It's the introduction of the business card and the verbal version, not the throwaway version that everyone collects and then trashes. This is how people know, what can you do for me? Now, I've aggregated these phrases and these sentences from people that I've learned from, like Hope Zavara and Forbes Riley, but your expertise, or your value statement, in other words, is the statement that reveals exactly what problems you're going to solve and who needs to have you in their world. So, number 1, this expertise. You might be an expert in crochet. You might be an expert in finance. You might be an expert in real estate. You might be an expert in nursing. You might be an expert in one of a million different things. But here's the phrase that I want you to build and kind of workshop this. If you need to pause this video so you can write stuff down and fill it in, do. So here's the thing. You're going to start with, I help blank. Now that first blank is your demographic of people. Right? So it might be, I help homeschooling moms, or I help, like Hope, truck drivers, or I help aspiring public speakers, or I help left-handed lawnmower operators. Whoever your demographic is, don't be afraid to be too specific. If you think you're speaking to everybody, nobody can hear you. So insert your demographic there. I help blank. Now, I need to write down what they're suffering from. And I don't want to use coach speak. I want to think about, what do they complain to their friends about when nobody else is around? What do they write in their secret journal, and what really hurts inside? So, for example, if I'm helping entrepreneurs who are feeling invisible or who are afraid to get on stage, then that's what they say to their friends. If I help business owners who feel like they're not getting enough revenue, or who are suffering from not being able to make ends meet, or they can't pay their mortgage and they're having to rug pull their business, I want to use the language of my clients. If I help moms of kids who have autism, who are struggling with not being able to even talk or express themselves to their kids, I want to get deep on that phrase. Now, when you start tooling this, don't be afraid to make it like a living phrase, or in other words, this phrase will morph and grow and change and get more specific over time. But it's going to start with this. I help blank, which is your demographic of people who suffer from blank, which is what they're struggling with in their own words. And then the third part of that is by doing, and then you describe your modality. So in my world, I help aspiring public speakers who feel invisible and afraid to get on stage by teaching them the 10 steps of the signature presentation and helping them get on stages worldwide. Now, instantly, you know if we are meant for each other. The more specific you can be, the faster your clients will run to you. If your clients or your prospective clients or your audience are using this, they're hearing this white noise, or they're hearing this super flowery, I just want to help people, I want to help women, I want to help blah, blah, blah. That's not specific enough. You're going to be just like every other Instagrammer out there who wants to empower, blah, blah, blah. It's not specific enough, and you're actually repelling people. You're pushing them away because they don't know if you are meant for them. So practice this language. Craft this language. In fact, if you join my school community, the link is in the show notes right here. You can go in there and practice this value statement, throw it spaghetti against the wall, try it out. And once you post your statement, you can have people pick it apart and say, are you helping this person? Are you helping this person? For example, I was working with a client recently who said, I help women who are struggling with loss of a spouse. And so I said, okay, that sounds like you're a grief counselor. And they said, no, I'm not a grief counselor at all. I'm like, well, your value statement says that you are. So retool the language so your audience knows exactly who you are. Listen up to when this happens. When you get so good at this with enough practice and enough messing up, then your name will be spoken of in rooms that you're not in, which is way better than any crappy paper business card could ever be. All right, that is talk tip number 6. This is step 1 of the 11-step speaker journey to monetize your message. We'll see you in the next talk tip.
Marianne Hickman here again. Listen, I hope super helpful for you. Maybe you learned something new. Share with me in the comments what was valuable. Or if you have this whole separate question like, hey, I wanted to know about this. I wanted to know about stage fright. I want to know how about my presentation on stage. I want to know about how to dress on stage. Anything that you want to know that's relevant to growing your business through stages, put in the questions. Because guess what? I go through and answer all of those personally. That's not an agency or a VA. That's me going through and looking at your questions because you are who I am here for. So last thing is I want you to get this database. If you haven't gotten it already, now I've got thousands of downloads on this thing, so maybe you've got it, but if not, make sure you go to mariannehickman.com/database. What that's going to do is take you to a page. You're going to input all of your information. We're going to send the database to you. You're going to request access to it. I keep it locked down so I can make sure I get it to just the right people. And you're going to request access. And then once you have that, you're going to go through and apply to podcasts that have the topic that you'd be an expert speaking on. Here's the thing. I get this database updated twice a week. So there's always new stuff in there. And if you're a podcaster, there's even a list of guests that you can have on your show on that podcast. Maybe you end up doing a podcast swap and you grow your audience that way. Regardless, I want you to get it. So mariannehickman.com/database, and we'll see you in the next Talk Tips.